This video will show you how to set up Vue.js with the Rollbar SDK. So the first thing you need is make sure you've got your Vue.js application ready. In this case, I'm using a Vue.js 3 application. Next, be sure to have your Rollbar project created, or if you're starting from a brand new Rollbar account, you can sign up and you'll start to see the onboarding flow. Now, in my case, I am using Visual Studio Code as my editor because we'll be adding files and modifying some additional files as well. So the first thing, we want to make sure that we have our environment running. In this case, I do have it running on my local computer. Next, we're going to run through the onboarding process within Rollbar. And this might differ slightly if you have an existing account with Rollbar and you create a new project. You will simply see the first couple of steps won't be there for you, but you'll see the one where we actually configure the SDK. So you can pick integrations like Slack, Jira, GitHub, GitLab, or some of the other tools you might use to set those up later. For now, I'm just going to pick the top 3 and we'll set those up in a different time. Next, I want to go ahead and integrate Rollbar, in this case, with a Vue.js application. So we do have a browser.js, we have Node, we have React, but if you scroll all the way down, you will see the Vue.js option. So go ahead and select the Vue.js option and press continue. So here we get to the first part of what we need to do. Now, you've got 2 package managers. Essentially, I'm going to use npm, but you can use the yarn option as well. So again, feel free to use the option that's best for you. So let's go ahead and we'll just go and stop this environment over here. And again, if you can see, I'm just in my root directory over here. So I'm going to go npm install save Rollbar. What this will do, it will go ahead and install the Rollbar package for me. And hopefully everything works correctly, as you can see there brilliantly. Now, as best practice, I typically go ahead and just run it to make sure it actually does work. We'll go actually run the correct command. There we go. So we should have this running in a second. There you can see my app is still running. We'll give it a moment to come back. And once it comes back, I can go ahead and we'll be able to see that everything works beautifully. There you can see the app is still running. So now the Rollbar package is installed, and we do know that it is running. So let's go ahead and we'll clear that out again. So we'll shut down that app. Okay, so now we've installed the actual package itself. Next is we're going to go and make some code changes. So there's a couple of files we'll add into our system, and also a couple of files that we'll be modifying. So the first one is we need create a rollbar config file. So rollbar.config.js, and you can do that in the root folder. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead over here. That'll be in my source folder. I'm going to go ahead and expand over here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new file called rollbar.config.js. Okay, so there we can see our rollbar.config.js. Yep, so that is perfect. And we want to go and press the copy button to copy out the setup, which includes our access token, which is how Rollbar knows where to send your data for your specific project that you just created. So we're going to go ahead and say that file, and that is all we need. Now, there are some custom things you can set up in the payload, like the environment. Right now, I'm set up in dev. We can set up in production, for example, or staging. We can set the get char here. For now, we're just going to leave it to version 1. But you can obviously change this as you go along. Quite important, we want to capture uncaught and rejections as well, so we want to keep that to true. We recommend looking at the Rollbar documentation for additional options that you can set up in the payload. Okay, so we've done the first step. The next one is we also need a Rollbar.js, which is really going to be our plugin for Vue.js. So again, Rollbar.js, we want to go ahead and create that in, again, our root folder as well. So if we go over here in our source location, we'll go rollbar.js, and there we've got that brand new file over there. So I'm just going to go ahead, press copy, and we'll bring that across and save it. So this is very important. This is the piece that we're setting up here is configuring this Vue.js application. So we're going app.config.error So this is where we're connecting Rollbar to send error data as an error into Rollbar. So it grabs all the data you want, essentially the exception with all the frames, and that will be sent to Rollbar. So you can do some modifications here. If you have an existing application where you have a different method of capturing exceptions, or you might have a different library for doing this, you can add Rollbar to the way you're doing it right now. But in this case, I'm just going to use the specific method we've got over here. So we've got that set up, which is great. Now, again, the next file we want to go ahead and modify is one of our main.js files. So, it might be called main.js or app.js. In my case, it is called main.js. So there you can see the standard one it generates with. And again, if you want, you can simply press the copy button and bring that across. And you'll see the differences over here. We don't actually need the CSS at all. This is the original one, so 3 lines there. Really what we're adding is that rollbar plugin. And then we're telling the app to actually use that plugin. So those are really the couple of lines we're adding over there. And of course, we're creating the app to register that one. So we'll go ahead and save those as well. So the next piece is we want to send some test data into Rollbar. And to do so, we want to add a button as really a test component. So we're going to go ahead and add a rollbar test.view component. So I'm just going to copy the name over here as an example. So under our components, I want to go ahead and add a brand new component called rollbar test.view. So we'll go ahead, create that file. And again, I'm just going to hit the copy button and we'll bring that across. So what this is doing, it's going to add a little button that we can use. If we press that button, it's going to call this method over here called trigger error, and to show you how to get that first set of data into Rollbar, which will be an error or exception that we're throwing over there. All right, so the next piece is we need to go ahead and add this into our application. So, of course, what we want to do in that main file, we want to go ahead and make sure that we put some of this data in there. So let's say, yep, we're good over there. We're going to go to our app.view over here. And so one of the things I want is we want to go ahead and import a couple of things. So the first thing is we want to go and import rollbar test over here from components / rollbar view. That's great. I want to make sure that we actually add it to our components list over here. Now we have that. So if we have that, we can actually go ahead and add that component over here, which is our rollbar test button over there. So now we've got that, we can actually go ahead and if we've done everything correctly, we can go ahead and run this application to make sure that it does work. So let's go ahead and run it, compile it, make sure everything is running correctly. Hopefully we've set up everything and it should just start to work and capture that data into Rollbar. So to know that it's working, we'll reload this page, and there you can see a button called trigger error. So that is the button we've added, and if we press that, we'll go ahead and we'll get a runtime error, which is perfect. And if you remember correctly, we set up the, this is really a test one, so we're setting testing rollbar integration. What will happen now in real time is we'll go ahead and continue on to Rollbar, and we'll see that brand new item over here as my first Vue.js error that was caught by Rollbar. There you can see the error that we have over here. We'll go ahead and open that up. And what you will see instantly is error testing Rollbar integration. That is absolutely correct because it's an uncaught error. It's not wrapped in a try catch. And if you scroll down, we have the actual stack trace itself. And again, all the frames, the non-project frames. Now, for any, JavaScript type application, you will need to upload source maps. And again, you can do that once you're ready. But the great thing over here is we know that our code is working and it is integrated correctly, and we're receiving data into Rollbar. So hopefully this helps you understand how you can catch handled and unhandled exceptions in Rollbar, and how you can go ahead and set up your Vue.js application with Rollbar. If you have any questions, we recommend looking at our documentation for both JavaScript and Vue.js in docs.rollbar.com. But you also have a live chat if you want to chat to a real person to help you get it installed within your application. We hope this video was useful, and have a good rest of your day.